Whose domain is it? Tell me whose domain it is right now. Oh my gosh. What a performance by Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. This is gonna go down as one of my favorite finals performances that I have probably seen over this past year. They were giving Peter a straight belt game after game after game, and they were winning almost every game too. We have so much to talk about in today's video. We're going to see who starts though. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are so close to 110,000 subscribers. If you guys want to support me even more, especially when buying these Squid Game skins, please just use code KDOG in the item shop. If you guys want to watch any of these future finals tournaments with me, and especially going into FNCS now, make sure you guys drop a follow on the Twitch, and we also stream today on YouTube as well. So if you were in the YouTube stream, comment down below W stream. Like I said earlier though, we have a lot to get into, so let's just get it started. So like I just said, yes, Acorn, Agers, and Pollo were able to beat Peterbot 5-1 off spawn today and win the Cash Cup by exactly 69 points as well. To say they had Peterbot's number off spawn today would be an understatement. Throughout the first 4 games of this tournament, Pollo was up 4-0 versus Peter, and Peter only had 1 total elim on Pollo's trio. There was literally just nothing Peter could do about it off spawn. Pollo had the exact same strategy every single game. He would drop right next to the staircase, run down them, get the gun spawn, and then it would be wraps for pretty much anybody who tried to con him, since he always had the better drop. There was a couple of rough games for Cold in this tournament, and we even got to see Cold crashing out on Acorn when he said in Faxy's chat, "On my soul, I'd rather die off spawn every game than follow Acorn and die to Surge 6 out of 6 games." Now, I'm pretty sure this was either after game 1 or game 2, so all I have to say is this statement did not age very well at all. But even if you're just taking the whole off spawn situation aside, this is one of the most impressive performances I have seen in so long. Acorn, Agers, and Pollo finished with 438 points, coming off of a Cash Cup opens where everybody was saying the vibes are shot on this trio, these guys are cooked, everything like that. That is why I actually predicted Peter to go 4-2 off spawn versus them today, and then they just came out and absolutely shut up all of the noise. I swear this is such a bipolar trio. They can either look like they're going to split up one week, and then the next week they'll look like the best team in the entire world. They finished with 438 points, got by far and away the most elims in this entire tournament with 59 total elims, which was 17 more than the second most elims. Their match history was a 5 elimination 14th, 13 elimination second, 11 elimination win, 18 elimination win, the only game they died off spawn, and then a 12 elimination win. I cannot say enough good things about this performance from Agers, Acorn, and Pollo today, and man, do I just wish that they could be uncon going forwards now. I'll talk about that whole situation though when I go over Peter's placement. Now, second place, I have seen a team that some people are calling very underwhelming so far this season, getting back-to-back second places in Div Cup finals now of Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs. They finished with 369 points, got 34 total elims. Something that was a very positive sign for them though was that they were far and away the most consistent team of the entire day, getting an average placement of 4.3. Their match history today was a 4 elimination 11th, 4 elimination 4th, 12 elimination 2nd, 4 elimination 2nd, 4 elimination 5th, and a 6 elimination 2nd. Pretty much all of their second place games came at the hands of Pollo, Acorn, and Agers, so there could have been a potential reality where Clicks was the trio that won 3 out of the 6 games today, but the cards just didn't fall their way today, and that is why they are sitting with back-to-back second places while being completely unconned at the best POI. Now, I don't necessarily know what it has been about Clicks' trio, but they just seemed a lot more like dominant and like fraggy last season compared to what they have been showing me this season. This week they finished with 34 total elims. Last week they finished with 38 total elims. They're only getting an average elims of 5.6 a game. I do still think that this team is the current FNCS favorite, just because I don't think there was really a world where Pollo, Acorn, and Agers or Peterbot's trio can win in FNCS Grand Finals while contesting one another. Even for how insane Pollo looked today, I still do think that Clicks is my current FNCS favorite, but I've still just been left with wanting more out of these guys. So I don't know, man. We got a 2-week break now. This is the last Div Cup of the entire season, but FNCS is going to be here before we know it, and if Clicks wants to make this his first ever season where he wins an FNCS, I think they have to do some more to get to that point still. Third place was Booga Threats and Craze on 351. This is now a 4th place last week and a 3rd place this week for this trio, a trio that is still trying to be able to qualify for LAN, and a trio that is still honestly trying to make a mark for themselves for being one of those potential locks for being able to qual LAN. I think my 2 favorites right now are definitely Booga Threats and Craze, and then the team that is right under them in Kanata, Bolt, and Rapid. There is a pretty pretty big point gap though, because Bugha's trio finished on 351 points, and then Kanata's trio finished on 272. Bugha's trio had a great performance today as well. They had multiple 10+ elimination games. And then for how I'm actually feeling about Kanata, Bolton, Rapid, in the games that they're able to get on high ground, they're either winning or placing second place in, but I just feel like that is something that we've all already known up until this point. In the games that they were forced to play mid ground because Pollo was on high or they just weren't able to get it, they were really just super underwhelming, dying in like 11th place, 9th place. They seem to be a little bit of high ground merchants right now, and I said this in last week's video, and they were able to win 3 out of 6 games. I want to see how good they were actually going to look in a lobby where Pollo's going for height, Peter's going for height, Bugha's going for height, and we got to see both Pollo and Bugha go for height today, and you can tell it really hindered their performance. I think this trio just needs to be able to diversify their playstyle a little bit more. They literally have 3 players who are some of the best fraggers on the entire region. Like, there is no reason why these guys shouldn't be able to play a mid-ground layer, but they also just really haven't shown that they're capable of that quite yet. 5th place was Mud, Shadow, and Sphinx on 254. This trio started off super hot today, getting a 7 elimination 4th, 0 elimination 9th, 7 elimination 3rd, 4 elimination 3rd. Then in their last 2 games, they ended up having mid-game deaths. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about with this trio is they have been like far and away the least fraggy trio in the top 5 the past 2 weeks. Last week when they got 6th place, they only got 20 total elims, and then this week they only got 25 total elims. They honestly kind of remind me of like a Cammy and Seti type of team. They'll play those mid-ground layers, but they're not super fraggy, but they do have really consistent match histories, and that's what they showed throughout the first 4 games. I just don't know, in a season where there's only 2 land spots, if being consistent is going to be enough to qualify them to land. 6th place is Aiden, Krillian, and Hound. 7th place is Sinetto. 8th place is Noxie. 9th place is another land quad team of Bakapars and Pump, and then rounding out the top 10 is Taki, Eshu, and Ver on 176. We did though have a lot of teams outside of that top 10 on NA, like 11th place of Reet, Cooper, and Curly on only 159 points. Now this trio started off the tournament with an 11 elimination 2nd, and I remember I was telling my chat like this could be the week where Reet, Cooper, and Curly get the win and they get a lot of people really motivated in them. And I don't know if I just like full cursed them after that, but after that game they only had 1 other game inside of the top 10. They went 3 straight games getting 0 total elims, and I really don't even know what was happening to them. Like, these guys were still trading Surge with Muzz off spawn. They were trading with them for seemed like half of the time they were even alive, but like I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna have to go back, VOD review these guys a bunch and see what actually went wrong. But this is probably like far and away their most disappointing performance ever since they have formed as a trio. 12th place in their first set lobby finals together, we have Phaser, PH, Zen, and King. I meant to say their first set lobby finals together on NA. They finished with 142 points, only got 13 total elims, but their best games from today was like a 4 elimination 5th, 4 elimination 6th, and a 2 elimination 13th. They still don't have the most consistency, but that's why I have been saying ever since they moved here, I think the first couple weeks, especially for them, are just going to be learning weeks for them. I thought that maybe there was a chance they finished inside of the top 10, but this team has to get used to the NA surge trading meta, and I think they were able to do that a decent amount. They don't still seem like fully comfortable surge trading yet, but they just have to realize it's literally the meta on NA. Everybody is going to do it, and that is just the game plan that you have to follow if you want to do good on NA. But I think this is still a very solid start for this trio. We also have like Rise, G-Money, and Aviv in 13th, another brand new trio. These guys were contested off spawn and getting third party pretty much every single game today. I don't even know what the actual off spawn score ended up being for them. They were getting like 6th partied a couple of the games, so still almost being able to pull off a top 10 I think is still a decent sign for this trio. Another big name team we had was like 18th place of Skittles, Joji, and Bryce. Now you know we had to talk about them. In 20th place is the trio of Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot. They finished on 104 points in 6 games, which I mean, I guess 100 points in only 1 total match, in which is a game that they got a 19 elimination 4th. They still did show that they have the potential when they're able to be uncontested, but they were, unfortunately for them, contested today. And like I said earlier, only winning 1 out of their 6 total matches off spawn is just not the precedent they can be setting going forwards if they want to not only get an uncon spot this season, but also if they want to be uncon at LAN. Like, you think that like Ferdoxy or some other random EU trio is gonna fear a team that is losing 5-1 off spawn versus a team that has Acorn on it, which is like obviously no disrespect to Acorn, but like I think a lot of us could probably agree Acorn is the worst fighting player out of all 6 of these guys that are fighting off spawn. And for what a lot of people consider to be like unanimously the 2 best players in the world of Cold and Peterbot, they have just not been able to beat Pollo off spawn like literally almost at all this season. They ended up going 3-3 last week. They ended up losing 3-1 in the first eval cup of the season. So in tournaments alone, Pollo is currently up 11-5 on Peter's trio. I see a lot of people saying that Peter should leave the drop spot, and I kind of like half agree with that. The only like real rebuttal I have against that is I have no clue where Peter would even land at. Say we take out the name factor of Peterbot, Code, and Ritual, and it was just a completely random trio, and Ager's, Acorn, and Pollo ended up beating them 5-1 off spawn, went on to win the cash cup, and then the other team didn't even finish inside the top 15. A lot of people would say that that team is just griefing Acorn. So I feel like to a certain extent, at some point, if you are doing this bad off spawn, you almost are just obligated to leave, but I really have no clue where Peter would go. I mean, there might maybe be potential if Peter wants to go land on clicks, but I just really don't know where Peterbot, Code, and Ritual go from here. NA was like straight out of a movie scene today. Let's actually move on to how EU went now. Now in EU, the trio that I told you guys just wait until they're uncontested was finally able to win a Cash Cup finals, and the last one before FNCS as well, of Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy. Now these guys finished with 375 points, won 1 out of their 6 matches, and the super impressive thing to me for this trio is they finished with far and away the most elims, getting 52 total elims, which was 14 more than the second most of Vino, Vico, and Flixie with 38. Now Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy had an average placement of 8.1. Their match history from today was an 8 elimination 5th, 10 elimination win, 6 elimination 16th, 2 elimination 23rd, which was far and away their worst game, and then to close off the tournament and secure the win, they got an 11 elimination 2nd and a 15 elimination 2nd. This trio had an average elims of an 8.6, and it just really goes to show that when you get a POY like Supernova Academy completely uncontested, you are always going to be in that winning potential, and I think we 100% have to consider Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy as one of our FNCS favorites for this season. Super great performance out of them. I think another reason why I have been so confident in them ever since last grand finals is because this team has shown time and time again that even if they get contested, they're going to do whatever it takes to win off spawn. They're going to play those mind games to get into their opponent's head. So I really see no way that this team gets contested in grand finals, and I think this really could be a season where Ferdoxy wins grand. Second place though, speaking of potential FNCS favorites, a team that absolutely had to have a good performance this week, and that is exactly what they did. The trio of Vino, Vico, and Flixie. They finished with 319 points, were unfortunately only able to play 5 total matches, so they finished 2nd place in the Cash Cup finals in only 5 games. They're able to win 2 of those games, and like I said earlier, finished with the 2nd most elims of 38 total elims. So I mean, hey, honestly, their average elims was a 7.6, so say that they were able to load into their first game, they would have been able to finish with 45 elims if we're just going based off of their averages. This was a super great performance out of them. They started off the tournament a little bit rough, getting a 3 elimination 19th, but then after that, they were playing probably their best Fortnite of the entire season, getting a 9 elimination 3rd, 15 elimination win, 9 elimination win, and a 2 elimination 9th. Like I've been saying, whoever gets that bird ability to just like absolutely run through teams on the mid and low ground layers, they're always going to have such high fragging potential. So I am still really hoping that the item gets removed before FNCS officially starts, and I am confident in Epic Games that they will remove it. But then in 3rd place, I have the trio that I actually predicted to win this week of Ping, Walks, and Malibuca. They finished with 313 points, won 1 out of their 6 matches, and got the 3rd most elims with 35 total elims. This trio did have the highest elim game of the day, getting a 17 elimination win in game 1. They had 2 rough mid games, but other than that, they were really super consistent throughout the rest of the tournament. And then in 4th place, I think the entire top 4 is my FNCS favorites as of right now. In 4th place is the reigning defending FNCS champions of Venya, Pixie, and Marius. They finished with 311 points, were not able to win any games today, but still finished with 31 total elims. Now this trio, in their first first 4 games were ahead by like 60 points in the tournament. They got a 13 elimination second, 5 elimination sixth, 4 elimination fourth, 8 elimination second, 1 elimination ninth, and then in their very final game, they ended up getting a 0 elimination 17th because they were really struggling with Storm Surge. That was a pretty prevalent problem that we saw with Venia, Pixie, and Marius today because Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy were not trading Surge with them, and instead Chino's trio was actually W-king other teams. So in the last couple games of the tournament, Venia's trio was below Surge a lot of those games. I still really wouldn't be too worried about this team. They weren't as dominant on high ground in this tournament as they have been in the past, and especially last week, but I do still think this is a very good trio and potentially one of the best trios in the world still going into FNCS. 5th place is our first non-LAN team on this list of Sky, Scroll, and Thomas HD. They finished with 264 points, and I think them and the team in 6th place of Pink, Nebs, and Kiro are my 2 current LAN favorites on EU. They have looked like almost far and away better than every other team. Both of those teams are currently uncontested as well without having a LAN spot secured. And this was kind of a disappointing day for Pink until the very final game. They did still show glimpses where they got like a 4 elimination third, 5 elimination sixth, and then a 10 elimination win in the final game. But before that, they had a lot of mid game and just barely top 10 games. So I don't even think this trio really played up to their full potential today either. 7th place might be one of our more impressive performances of the day of Artist, Vanky, and iFrozy. Now these guys ended up splitting Kappa Kappa Factory for 5 of the games today, and then in the other game we actually got to see a 1v3 versus Cammy's trio. So I'm gonna put that up on the screen right here. This team though being able to split a very mid-tier POI and still finish top 7, I think is very promising for them going forwards. 8th place was Fastroki, Bevies, and Ankiduo, and 9th place was Convex, Shark, and Blaha. We did see Shark kind of complain about they were not able to get triple birds a single one of their games today. I do still think Shark, Convex, and Blaha though are making a potential name for themselves as being one of those teams that could qualify for LAN. Back-to-back top 10s in Cash Cup finals is very impressive. And then rounding out the top 10 is hopefully the last time we don't see these guys play together. We have Queasy, Murstache, and then their fill of Sato. Queasy ended up tweeting out after too that he did learn a lot from this tournament, and we have to remember this is Queasy's first Divisional Cup finals of the season. It's going to be so hard to project how good Queasy, Murstache, and Swizzy are going to be able to do this FNCS because they are literally probably going to be the only team going into it with no practice together in this meta. I don't even know the last time Swizzy has played the game, but I mean a top 10 in the last tournament of the season, not too bad for them. Some of the big names we had just outside that top 10 was like 11th place of Video Cringe and Volko on 193. This was their first time getting a Uncon Crime City, so maybe you could see it as a potential disappointing day from them, but I don't know. I'm not super high on this trio necessarily either. 13th place is iDrop, Hari, and Cammy on 168. Now, like I said earlier when I was talking about Artist's trio, these guys are splitting Kappa Kappa Factory off spawn, so Artist being able to get 7th and then Cammy getting 13th from landing the exact same drop is honestly kind of crazy. Cammy's trio honestly didn't look super bad fragging wise either. They finished with 23 total elims. They didn't get a single game inside of the top 5, but I don't think that is really too much of an area of concern, especially since, like I've been saying, they literally had probably some of the worst loot on the entire map. Dexy, Eclipse, and Twi finished in 19th. Not really sure what went wrong for these guys today, so only 96 points in 6 total matches for one of our most underrated teams on the entire region is pretty disappointing. And then another team that did kind of struggle today was 21st place of Chap, Mr. Savage, and Rezon. Now for how the Mr. Savage off spawn fight went, I literally don't even want to like try to explain how they ended up going. You can either say it was like 2-2-2, 3-2-1, 2-1-3, literally whatever you want to call it. In the first game, Savage played absolutely out of his mind. He ended up getting all 3 elims off spawn and then was even able to solo clutch at the end to get them a 10 elimination 4th. But then after that, there was a lot of like splitting that was going on. One of the teams was running away after one of them elimed the other one. Belusi's trio, the one who was contesting them, ended up finishing in 18th place. So they did outplace Mr. Savage, which when you have an off spawn battle that goes pretty even off spawn, usually the team that ends up placing higher is the one that people consider to be the winners. I really do wish that Chat, Mr. Savage, and Rezon just absolutely dominated this off spawn fight because I really don't know where they go from here. I mean, Focus, Mixin, and Upple, the other trio that was already landing there before, already left the drop spot to go contest somewhere else, but they also didn't have a very good performance either this tournament. And I'm not necessarily super high on Belusi's trio, so maybe Savage is just hoping that Belusi isn't able to qualify for grands. But as of right now, it is really just looking like this is going to be another season of Savage contested wherever he goes. And I'm not trying to just keep bringing up old things, but this is why countless times I have said I wish they just claimed a mid-tier POI at the beginning of the season. They would have 100% had it uncon by now, because because like we have seen trios like Pink, Nebs, and Kiro have uncon resistance base for I don't even know how long at this point. Multiple other teams that don't have a land spot have uncon POIs, but Mr. Savage is just looking like he is in an infinite loop of being contested right now. Another trio that really struggled today, especially off spawn, was Pigstorm and Demus. They were only able to play 5 total matches. They had one good game in their first game, but it was still only a 3 elimination 6. This has been one of the more disappointing teams of the season for me. I said the same thing after day 1 of grand finals last season though, so maybe this team will have some like insane comeback, but for a team that I had 7th place in the world going into this season, they have not shown anything close to that so far. We had Raxianus and Kidwo in 30th, Seti, Yapko, and Panzer in 31st. Now Seti's trio ended up losing off spawn 4-1 versus Twex trio, so it looks like Seti's off spawn rep is still not going to be that crazy even after he ended up getting dropped by Cammy. This is really the part that sucks for a lot of those teams that don't have land spots though, is if you didn't already have a spot secured before the season started, you are just going to be in a contest battle, and I really don't know how confident I'm going to be in these trios that haven't qualified for land that have no drop spot either. All right, let's move on to the final statistics now and the zones for how today went. So let's pull up these zones first. Honestly, pretty similar and close zones throughout the day. Literally game 4, 5, and 6 were all like center map zones, so I am a little bit surprised that Queasy didn't end up doing better than he did. For the final statistics though, the most elims was 20 elims for Ferdoxy, 26 assists for Sato. Malibuca ended up dealing the most damage with 6,127, and that was about it. All right, now literally after I have went over everything in EU, Queasy ended up tweeting out FNCS with Swizzy and Murstache, and they are now going to officially be going to Demon's Domain in contesting Malibuca. Now, I don't know if Queasy is feeling confident after seeing that Pollo performance today or what, but Queasy is leaving an uncontested Utopia City to fight Malibuca, Ping, and Walks off spawn. We now have 2 huge Demon's Domain fights going forwards. And for anybody that was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity for Savage to land Utopia City, literally 2 minutes after Queasy tweeted that out, Demus ended up tweeting out Utopia City for Major 3 with Pigstorm and their coach of Sven. So hopefully this trio can get back on track too with a what seems like might potentially be an uncon POI for them. Other than that though, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. I am still going to try to have a lot of videos coming out even over this 2-week break, so don't expect the content to stop. We are still going to be grinding over here. If you guys want to support me even more, especially when buying the brand new Squid Game skins in the item shop, please just use code KDOG. Follow me on my Twitter and my Twitch, link in the description down below if you guys want to keep up to date with me. YouTube says enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.